Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been 7 months, but right here, right now, is about one of my favorite builds that I've ever done. That's right, it's Top Throw 2 time, so let's jump into this build. I know some of you guys have been asking for this one for a long time, and I am super excited to get this one out to you. Let's begin with how I started to build this model. So the key thing with this model was trying to figure out what scale it should be, because unlike my King to Ka model, this model is very short. It is just over a foot tall, whereas the King to Ka model that I released a full POV on would be over 3.5 feet, I believe. The way I was able to determine the scale was originally building that main top hat, that tower you see with all the lattice structures. Because I wanted to get everything accurate to the real life version, I had to make sure I was giving myself enough room, enough space, and build it at the right scale to where everything would look good and not be all clumped together. Once I got the tower done, I started by placing the one white 1x2 ball and clip piece at the top and then came down with the track on either side. That way I could start getting that track and get the supports underneath done, so then I could move on to the rest of the build. The launch track and return tracks were fairly easy, but I did have to add a set of bar and clip pieces underneath so that the track would be really sturdy. While I was working on the tower, I decided to also start building the base underneath it, so I had a really good foundation on which to start building. This base is actually built out through the rest of the build so that we have that good base to start with, but it can also house the different snot techniques. One great example of this are the lights that I built that shine up onto the top hat. To get those centered, I had to do a little bit of work with snot to get those in the right spot. There's also a 1x2 panel that almost touches but doesn't quite to those center pieces there, those center lights, and it really creates a seamless transition between the rest of the grass underneath to those lights. The rest of the infield was pretty easy, but it was really the supports underneath the launch and return tracks that were especially difficult. I tried to find small enough pieces, especially those bar pieces, that fit underneath the track but didn't collide with it, so that this model was actually buildable. Once I got the rest of the infield done, I primarily focused on the station and the spike. So that spike, I reused some portions and techniques from the main tower I mentioned earlier, but mostly it's all original and quite honestly took a long time because the spike is smaller. I had to somehow make that spike in scale with the original tower without it looking cluttered. So it was basically the same issue as before, but this time on a smaller scale. The station honestly is one of my favorite parts of this whole build. The way I was able to get the roof to be angled was really fun. There's a bar running through the station columns in those 1x1 modified brick pieces, which allow a clip to attach to it, which then connect to the roof. And then that allows the poles and everything else to sit at an angle. I actually had one version of the model without it and then went back and redid the station to what I'm showing you now. Once that was done, all I had left to do was pretty much finish the queue and then just finish the water and landscaping around the rest of the build. Once I finished that, the model was pretty much complete. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Again, I apologize for such the long delay and space in between videos. I'll try not to do that again, but once again, I hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see you next time.